You have to get closer.
Here, I gotta go background.
And we are live.
We're live.
I'm not paying attention much. You look like you're smaller.
I am smaller. I've been on a diet all weekend. No, not really. It's not working.
There's like no great way to do it, right?
Yeah, no.
I feel like I'm blind. I need to start wearing my
I
glasses.
brought my stand.
Oh, turning my brightness up.
Oh, there we can see it. There it is.
There it is. Evening. I forgot. Jeremy's over there on the other side of the planet. Literally, other side of the planet.
Why is that?
South Africa?
I guess that is, yeah.
I don't know the reason why. Born there?
Oh, does the time change north to south? Kidding. There are people going, yeah, of course it does. What are you thinking?
So just as a heads up to anyone on the internet today, we do have Scott in here. That's not an April Fool's joke.
It might be.
But if you do see absolutely anything that looks peculiar on the internet today, it is April Fool's Day. So
good point.
You have been warned. Nothing is what it seems.
Choose not to download today.
Download?
No, I'll stop off the internet.
Ryan sent out a massive thing to his list. I haven't watched the whole thing. I think they were heading towards the fact that he might be a robot. They made like a whole documentary and everything. To find a robot. I think it was a great way to get everyone to click though, right?
Yeah. But it's really, all of it is actually, it's fun when, like we did the event Saturday, and it's fun after that to then not only get the responses from people and things like that, but you start to think of the post-marketing and things that you could do, right?
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden you've got a new thought process. You've had new experiences. You've had new stuff. I was talking that's what took me a minute to meet exactly on time as opposed to early. Was talking to somebody about the event. He went, oh my God, I wish I would have known about that. And I said, yeah, it would have been probably better if we had marketed better. But it's interesting because once you do it, now you can talk about it.
Yep.
And because you talk about it, he's like, when's the next one? And I said, May 11th. He goes, I'm in. Perfect. So so it's, you coined the phrase, done is the new perfect, right? And I think that really becomes it, is you have to just go do it.
Right.
And Shauna and I talked about it because we had a mastermind yesterday.
You did?
We did. And so, but we were talking about, you can't ever say, we should, or let's have one, or whatever.
Right.
Right? Because you have. And it's, we've bounced back and forth different ideas since, and, kind of how to relate some of the different things that happened and all that. And it's, but it's fascinating how, because you did it, things are different.
Because you did it, things are different.
It's very profound, isn't it? Can we make a meme of that?
Make a meme of it.
Is it meme April 1st? No, I was just saying. No, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
You're just trying to be mean to me this morning.
Not mean. It's I think I foreshadow. Let me see if I can go back to our little thing here.
You foreshadowed.
I foreshadow. I don't even know the right words to use. Sadly born here. There's nothing sad about that, Jeremy.
South Africa's wonderful. It's beautiful.
I've never did his name. This is what happens when you stay up too late. I have one of my friends taking pictures every day from South Africa, posting them up on
Yeah.
his feed, and just like,
Yeah.
oh, shut the front door.
Yeah, no,
It's like every picture's
there's
gorgeous.
awesome stuff.
Gorgeous.
So you're foreshadowing.
I'm foreshadowing a lot of late nights this month to do a launch. You in?
Sure. Well, but I think that's the, again, once you do something, once you take the action and you see the results, it's funny.
Well, it takes away a lot of your fears. You don't do something because you're afraid that either somebody's not going to show up or people aren't going to like it or no one's going to buy it. And then you take a tiny step and then a little bigger step. And then like there's interest and people show up and you're like, and then they show up and you're like, they ask you weird questions like, are we going to do this again? And there's 32 people in the office right now. And that seems like a plan. When are you going to do it?
Yeah, what? Let's do it.
May 11th? That sounds good.
Well, and that it's kind of what happened. We were sitting there talking yesterday, and probably one of the attendees that we thought was probably there more feeling out of obligation than out of desire.
This wasn't Sean's son we're talking about, right?
No,
okay.
No, you knew that? No. Mason did an awesome job. He did an amazing job. But one of the attendees, it was really cool afterwards how affected he was. Meaning, he was stunned at the impact of the day. And he said, this has forever changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when it was one of the people that you didn't anticipate that kind of response from. Right? You kind of anticipated hey, it was cool to see what you guys do. And you kind of went into it anticipating that kind of response to holy cow, you've given me the courage to do this, and now, man, I never realized I wasn't doing this, right? I mean, it truly affected him, right? There was affect. There was, that he was going to make significant changes in his outbound efforts towards things. And that's really cool.
That is cool.
And that's why you train and why you do what you do anyway. And then talking to a millennial business owner this morning, and he said, so have you done any talks lately, or are you doing any talks lately? I said, well, I haven't done one since Saturday. And so that's what started that conversation, and you start laughing. So now you have things that you can, you've got different things that you can reference that you couldn't reference before Saturday, right? And so I think a big part of what is it?
I am enough planning time to do it type, so it irritates the life out of me when people talk longer than an hour about doing something. Oh, this is true. Like when you guys sit there with people and just they're always talking about ideas.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's one of the things I said on Saturday was ready. Basically, everything we're doing with that event Saturday and what we're doing with a lot of the different things we're doing with U+1 is ready, fire, aim. I'm the same way. People who sit there and well, I got to have it planned out perfectly, and what happens if this doesn't happen? And the way we did this event, we pretty much had the people who participated.
Okay.
We knew by who had registered.
Yeah.
We could be up there and be blithering idiots, and they'd still love us.
Oh.
Seriously. I mean, they're just very good people who are rooting for us.
Right.
Right. And as it turned out, they got a lot from it, and it was like that's what's really rewarding about it And then you sit and say, well, how can you take that and do this and do that? And just on the way here, Sean and I were messaging, and I said, just thanks for playing. It was a blast, right?
Right.
And he said, man, you can't believe how good the videos turned out. Which is really funny because it's not like there was a ton of effort in
Right.
trying to make the videos killer, right? But evidently they turned out really well. Well, then you start thinking,
Are these the recorded ones or the live? Are they just basing it off the live videos? Or do you mean the videos promoting the event? Or?
no, the videos of the event,
Okay.
And he said, you can't believe the quality of the videos are really good. And so then all of a sudden you start thinking, and here's what's funny. We had somebody register for the event for Saturday, yesterday afternoon.
Wait a second. After the event?
Yes. We got a registration for the Saturday event on Sunday.
That's awesome.
And so, but one of the things that we did is we offered anybody who was registered for that event gets lifetime access to our events. If you were going to believe in us, okay, you're in.
That's nice.
You're part of the tribe, right? And so I think what happened is somebody went, oh wait, I forgot to register, and I want lifetime access.
Well, they were trying to get in.
But I mean, I don't know that to be true, but it would be logical.
Yeah.
But it also give you an idea of post-marketing.
Right.
Of going, hey, we know you missed it.
We know you missed it.
But you could still take it in, right?
Right.
So it's fascinating that once you take the action, and this was said multiple times from stage on Saturday, the only way to know whether it's right, wrong, and indifferent is to take the action to begin with. And then you're going to get some kind of feedback, good, bad, or indifferent.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
And so, the desire of everybody is to go from point A to point B in a straight line, absolutely perfect, as fast as possible. In reality, that's
not
probably
how it
happened
works.
exactly never. You're always off course at some point.
Well, yeah, at some point, definitely.
And so the point becomes it's not about being off course. It's about being off course less often, less far.
Fair enough.
And so dial it in and make that happen.
So you got a lot of excitement.
Yeah, we got a lot of excitement brewing, and we had a lot of fun doing it. I mean, we laughed a lot. We laughed at each other. It was really cool to see Mason. Mason did an exceptional job.
And he's 15, right?
As a 15-year-old to go on stage. And one of the things that we laughed about yesterday is because at one point in something I was sharing, I got tremendously emotional and verklempt. I got
and what?
Verklempt.
Verklempt?
That's that was Mike Myers' old line on Saturday Night Live.
Verklempt.
A little verklempt here. Just got caught up a little bit, right? And got real emotional and choked up and all that. And what was interesting is then Mason went up and started talking and started telling a story, and all of a sudden he got emotional, which was cool to see. That he could allow himself to be that free to do that. But what was even funnier is all of a sudden he goes, oh, I have a whole new appreciation for what Mr. Schilling went through. And that was actually,
Yeah.
What a great learning experience, right?
It is.
That he said, I really realized what, how sometimes emotions just come out. Well, how many 15-year-olds have that kind of realization?
Right.
That's pretty cool. So, what you making?
Social media post.
awesome. Yeah.
You're talking. This one happens to be for one of the other Business Growth Network members.
Fine. Keep it together.
Kidding. But going through and the promotion that we're doing how do you want to say it, has been doing really well. Even though I'm like looking over here, trying to find her name. So this is the back end. I think, what did I title today's talk? Both live. Yeah, both live on one screen. How to build influence with social media. Right?
Very nice.
And so here, I mean, I'm tracking it because obviously it is our business. We are in the business of social media, right? Let me go over. But actually tracking what you're doing. So building a following, people have to think you're smart, right? How to get influence, right?
More than likely.
They have to see you. I mean, when you think about people who build influence, right?
Right.
They are not constantly pitching.
No, they're almost never, actually.
They're serving.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about other people.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about the people they're talking to, right? And what they need and what they care about.
Right.
And oh, by the way, I have this. And I thought it was really interesting yesterday. I was listening to some training, and it was over the concept that pretty much everything in sales is a hook, story, offer. Not even sales, but hook, story, offer, hook, story, offer, hook, story, offer. Get someone's attention, tell them a little story. Effective marketing and sales, right? Effective. And
okay.
He goes into a story.
This is a particular person's take on how to do this.
Yeah, everyone's got a take, right? Sometimes you're
I'm
simplifying.
qualifying it.
Yeah, I get it. But that part is not even the education of hook, story, offer. But so he goes into a story, and he gets skipping back into his past about how he couldn't afford to feed his wife. You know, they're young, still like finishing college and all that kind of stuff, and struggling. And then he met this guy who was like obviously very wealthy, you know, dressed wealthy, which in today's world, I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, right.
With debt wealthy. But how this guy recommended this book, take this book, you know, I would read it for 20 minutes, implement for 40, read it for 20, implement for 40, completely changed my life. And so the guy starts doing it, and he's like, yeah, but I did it. And then I still keep in touch with him, and I don't want to out him with his name and all that. You know, it's this book right here, and he's slamming the book. And I noticed he's never really flipping the book around. You never see the title of the book. He never tells you what book it was. He never tells you what's in the book. He doesn't tell you what he learned from the book. He doesn't tell you what changed his life from the book. He just says, the book changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, there's a glimmer, and I'm taking notes. I'm a note taker, right?
Shocker.
And so I pause it, and I'm like going back, trying to see the picture so I can pull the link and add it to my notes, right? And I do. I'm good. And it's all blurry. I'm like zooming it in, right? But I'm getting the book that changed his life, right? I'm adding it to the notes. Apparently, now this was recorded. On the live version, people bought the book live. Like they figured out what the book was. They went to Amazon and they were like, click, bye. See you in 2 days, right? Love Amazon, right? And he gets really quiet and he starts reading, and he's reading all the comments about how people just bought the book and all this. And he goes, I want you to know the whole story is a lie. I've never read this book. And I haven't even told you what's in it, but I just sold it. And I didn't even ask you to buy it.
Yeah. Well, that's the
power of influence combined with storytelling.
Right. And that was actually another point brought out on Saturday, is we have lost the art of creating curiosity. And we have this urge to purge. You know, let me tell you everything I know about
purge, everything. Vomit. Word vomit, purge. Yeah. Okay.
Right. The urge to purge, right? Verbal vomit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me just give you everything I have about everything, and therefore now you know how smart I am. So because I'm smart, you should take advantage of what I'm talking about. You just go, oh my God.
It was a really big shocker that he lied. I was like, really?
Well, he was more than likely making a teaching point.
No, he did make a teaching point, and it was effective. And I think if he would have just said the point, it would not have come across.
No, and that's the part that people, again, I think that, this actually goes to a fabulous presentation that Sean gave on Saturday on the addiction to approval. His influence, they're addicted to even though they not one-on-one and face-to-face with this person, they're addicted to his approval, and they show that they show the influence in the following by making the purchase. That he doesn't, he can be so effective in the entire process by simply creating that much influence, and they so want to be accepted. Look, I bought it, because what did they do then? They posted their note that they bought.
Yeah.
So look at me, I bought.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh. Now I'm catching on here.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, that was a fabulous presentation that Sean made on Saturday on the addiction to approval. And we've lost our the vast majority of people do not create curiosity anymore. They want to tell everybody everything. They think like, oh, we're in such a fast-paced environment that I've got to tell you everything about everything and whatever. And so what happens is they're pounding you and let me inundate you with social media posts. Not let me give you one a day.
Yeah.
Or let me give you 3 a day. But let me give you 12 a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And for some people, it's like, oh, pick me. That's awesome. Right? But for other people, it's like, you had me at hello. And you had me at hello, and then you lost me at the rest. Right? And
that's like you were talking about, like talking someone out of the cell.
That's exactly what happens. Is you can talk yourself. You use as many words as it takes, and if it takes 3 words, it's 3 words. If it takes 20 words, it's 20 words, and if it takes 2,000, it takes 2,000. But if it takes 20 words and you use 2,000, you're going to kill somebody.
Right. And
if it takes 2,000 and you give them 20, you're not going to get them. It is what it is.
Right.
So the real skill becomes learning how to test where they are consistently with, and in quote, selling terms, it's called trial closing, but it's little bits of agreement. So if you notice from stage, I'll say, makes sense? What I'm actually doing is getting agreement on that teaching point. Because if I say it makes sense and they go, no, that doesn't make sense, then I can expand on it. If they say, yeah, it makes total sense, perfect, let's move on.
Now that kind of goes back into neurolinguistic programming, that you're getting them to constantly shake their head yes, even if it's only in their mind. And you go from that angle, or do you?
No, I don't go from that angle. It's true that it would be potentially considered part of NLP, but it's not done for I'm trying to stack yeses. I'm working to truly understand if they understand. Because the only way that I can add clarity is to understand they need clarity.
That's true.
But it's the same kind of thing. If they have clarity, I don't want to confuse it by adding more content. Once they have clarity, they have clarity. Don't confuse them.
Don't confuse them.
Well, think about it.
No,
think
I get
about
it.
I mean, all of a sudden you go out and you look online and you find the perfect tool. And once you've made the decision that that's the perfect tool, and you say, well, I've decided on X, Y, Z, and I'm taking that action.
Okay.
the biggest disservice somebody can do to you at that point is say, well, I know you think this is really good, but have you seen? And now,
That reminds me of the affiliate marketers who are like constantly just dumping. People haven't even got time to use something.
yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny because I'm looking at your red headphones, right? And it's like, well, those blue headphones are really nice. You know, red ones are available.
Shut up.
Well, but you understand where I'm going with that.
I do.
And we do that far too often in our processing. In sales presentation or in any of the stuff. And it doesn't, and again, do you understand, while we didn't offer anything for people to pay extra money for on Saturday, all of that, by definition, is actually a sale. You're selling content. You're wanting them to take and buy that content and put it into memory and then into action.
So during Saturdays, so you get a crowd, right? How do you feel like you specifically built influence to that crowd?
Well, part of it was probably the best way to build influence to a crowd is to have somebody build in your behalf as a third-party influencer. So as an example, Sean introduced me and, listed some of my accomplishments. And coming from him, and so that's why, he's done this.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm honored to work with him, and he's here to serve you. Has a tremendous amount more influence than if I stood up there.
I'm so awesome. Right?
Exactly. Here, let me tell you why I'm good, and I'm going to talk about me for a little while, and once I'm done talking about me, why don't you go ahead and talk about me? It's like...
yeah, doesn't that sound awesome?
Right.
I'm rock, I'm special.
So again, when we're building influence, and it's the same thing on the internet or online or influence or whatever. The people who, if you really think about it, the true influencers aren't the ones talking about their influence.
No.
It's everybody else.
What is it? Tony Robbins, the name of the documentary he allowed, I Might Be Google.
Yeah.
He specifically says, not me.
Well, again, a big part of it is the key is really getting other people talking about you.
And there's
in a positive way.
Have you seen the TED Talk about how to build influence in 3 minutes?
I have not seen that.
And it's like I know, right? Everyone's like, yes. You hear that tagline and everyone is immediately like, oh my gosh, yes, I need to know how do I build influence in 3 minutes. So they are looking at a festival, right? Like that. I think Woodstock, but not Woodstock, right? That's not even. There's this guy who's just absolutely insane, just out there dancing in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, I've seen the video.
Yeah, the video. And so the guy's narrating it the whole time. So he's like out there like crazy dancing, just weird, and no one else is dancing. No one. And then at one point, some guy just kind of looks up and goes, I'm gonna go dance up there too. And he goes and he dances with the lone nut, is what they call him. And then another one, and another one, to the point that people are almost mowing down the people sitting to go dance in the crowd for fear of missing out.
Get up, join us.
And what they explained was to build influence, one of the core pillars, it's not the leader. It's the first person to follow.
Right. And that's why it's...
I put my hand in my face. That's what I was not used to, like camera situated differently.
Well, but that's that's true. It's one of the reasons that Sean and I have come together to create U+1. He can do a far better job of presenting me. I can do a far better job of presenting him because it becomes an admiration then, it becomes in respect, it comes in a much different way. When you're sitting there, and it's one of the things that if you truly are there to serve, it's hard to do by yourself sometimes because people are like, well, what do you want out of this?
Right.
Right.
That's true.
So the the belief of the reasoning behind it and all that becomes a different thing. But if you just say, I want to because I want to, and then finally somebody in the organization becomes an advocate for you.
Advocate.
Yeah.
Not even just advocate, promoter.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that all comes in stages, and those stages all change with trust.
So how would you say you build trust
Oh no,
online?
we were talking about yesterday in
Yeah.
our mastermind. One of our masterminders finished reading Stephen M. R. Covey's The Speed. And it's interesting because that book is coming to my awareness like 3 times this week, or in the last 7 days, and I've it was part of a training I did for years. I trained on that book, but I haven't really trained on it in a while. Right? There's been this little time gap, but 3 times in the last 7 days it's shown up.
So obviously it was.
So yeah, it's
somebody telling you.
Yeah, but I mean, trust is one of trust is paramount. The reason this is not a political statement. It just happens to be about politics. The reason there's so much fighting going on right now is lack of trust. Period. This person.
Well, I agree. I just don't. I think, man, you could go political. There's a whole. I was researching that history. It came from Newt Gingrich. That is where it all started, with this massive division, because he learned that the more polarized people were, the more inclined they were to get up and vote.
And I think that,
and people used to go.
That's very true and very possible.
They used to live in the same city. They all used to live like in Washington, right? Their kids would go to the same school, so they go to barbecues together. And I think for building influence, that kind of comes back to exactly what you should be doing. You cannot live on some high tower or behind some computer and expect to build influence. You have to be with the people.
We're in if you want a great book, Michael Drew wrote The Pendulum, and it talks about 40-year cycles. 40-year me cycles, 40-year we cycles.
Oh, that's interesting.
And we're finally in kind of the momentum portion of the 40-year we cycle now.
We cycle.
Right.
Okay.
Which is less about the individual, more about the collective, more about community. And think about it. The millennial generation is far more about community, about significance, about meaning, about whatever. But that timed out right about.
So wait, are you saying, like, I'm trying to understand your 40s. Like 40 years were all about the individual.
40 years, it's personal wealth.
So this is like on a big globe, not global,
this
nationwide
scale. This has been proven
scale.
over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And that's why the book actually documents, from this period. So 2007 is really when we started moving into the we cycle. 2007 was the end of the me cycle. So basically what that means is from 70, in 40-year slots.
Okay.
So the 40-year slot for me was 1977 to 2007.
Okay.
Now, the other thing that the book says, which is why you got to get the book and why he wrote about it, not me, is that there's a transition period that may take 3, 4, 5, even 8 years after to really get into it. But quote unquote, the end of it, you know,
Yeah.
40 years is 40 years. Here's where this lops off, here's where this starts, here's where this lops off. Or
Yeah.
actually, it was, and so what happened is we were in that period where it was all about the individual, it was all about individual wealth, it was all
Yeah.
about, right? Da, 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 da. And then all of a sudden people go, well, anyway, this should be about us. This should be about more than this. This should be about whatever.
Okay.
And so what happened is we started going into the we cycle, but it takes a while for you to get in there.
Takes a while.
But that's why community, we're in the throes of that we cycle. So that's why community becomes important. That's why opening yourself up to more becomes important. Helping each other out. It's all those different kinds of things come into play. And again, it takes time to get there. It doesn't mean you still don't have me players in a league cycle,
Right.
but they have a harder time.
Okay.
And
they're less accepted.
They're less accepted. They have less influence. And if they call themselves out, they're more ostracized. So, I mean, all sorts of different things happen to be mean towards them, right?
To be mean.
But again, we again, it was not a political statement. It's a hey, just wake up and smell the roses statement. Understand human psychology and understand. That's why, again, what Sean did Saturday with addiction to approval is so important. And it's so funny because this morning I'm sitting talking like that by this guy at the club.
At the club.
Well, and that's exactly what I said to him. I said, you know why you're a member of this club? And he goes, why? I said, because you're addicted to approval. And he goes, no, that's not true. I said, then why didn't you join a different club? Well, because this is a really cool club. Oh. So there's approval there. He's like, you're right. So, I mean, it's fascinating when you think about it. But,
look how fast that populates. How cool is that?
Yeah,
all the brand up and going.
So anyway, but
imagine. So you've done your event, right?
Right.
And we showed you what you can kind of do here with like building the quotes for let's say Zig Ziglar. You were probably like I was looking. I was like that yours specifically more so than what I can do for most of my clients. You, even if you don't take pictures, you've taken pictures, right? I even showed that post to a couple people, and they're like, I thought that looked like Zig.
Well,
I thought it was a little weird that he had another guy in the picture, but it was Zig Ziglar, and it kind of looks like Zig. And I love that, like, when people have actually talked to people the way they, like, everyone's like, yeah, I thought Zig Ziglar. I mean, when you've met him, you're like, yeah, Zig. But the amount of influence you can build with a set of images like that. And a lot of people are like, well, why would you post on social if it doesn't get seen? I was like, well, I know how to make it get seen. From the training. If nothing else, I'll know that you have no intention of purchasing, that's fine. Just come get the training, right? And you put those in between those stories. And then you share them with stories. You've now built influence and people will start recognizing you and they won't even know why.
Right. And that's the thing.
You're the guy with Zig, with great stories.
Stories about being with Zig.
About being with Zig, right? Hey, you know, if you can.
but I mean, as long as you create true, legitimate stories. One of the reasons that I present all that stuff differently is because there's so much. Oh, I'm with Richard Branson, and he's my best buddy.
Oh my gosh,
Richard Branson
not your
is
buddy.
Not your best buddy. Stop presenting it that way. That part's not true.
No,
right?
No, it's not.
And it's just
Fake.
well, it's not even.
It's fake.
Well, I would almost go harsher.
Oh, okay. Well, how harsh is harsh? Let's see harsh. I want to see harsh.
No, I don't say harsh. So
Okay.
it's less than true.
Less than true.
But I mean that.
What is less than true? Less than true is a lie.
Okay, that's the word you use. I try not to bring those words in mind.
I'm trying to bring those words into my vernacular. Let's use big pictures, big words.
Well, no, the again, I mean, I think a big part of people want to. That's one of the big things we heard after Saturday was, I'm so excited to be part of this community.
Community. That's Brian Dice. Community is new brand.
Yeah.
And if you want to build influence, you must build a community.
Yeah, and that's really what U Plus
And
One is. It was
Nike did it brilliantly.
was always designed as,
I'll say this about Nike: you made, whether you loved or hated, what is his name, Colin Kaepernick or whatever, whether you love or hate the politics behind it, whether you love or hate football, whether you love or hate Nike, whether you're burning the stuff right now, it doesn't matter. Nike has always, I actually went and researched this afterwards because I've heard like they supported Tiger Woods after his falling out. They did not pull out as being one of their sponsors. They've done the same with the basketball player. Charles Barkley. Remember, somebody spat in his face and he threw him through a window. And then when the judge said, like, gotta let him go, he was like, have you learned your lesson? He's like, yeah. Next time, finish the job, drag him to the 4th floor and throw it off. And I was like, damn. Nike kept him.
Yeah. Because
Nike's slogan to their community is,
just do it.
Did it say, think about it and do it?
No.
So the athlete, it was just do it. And they said, believe in something so much that you would give up everything for it. I thought that was really clever because they satisfied the veteran community, who completely understands that statement because you sign on the dotted line in blood. And they satisfied the sports community. And their community, love them or hate them, loved them more for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought Nike's branding, and I remember back in the day when I was playing college football, and that's really when Nike first came out.
Is it really? I've never known life without Nike.
Well, no, I know but the point is that they came out, and I thought the most brilliant thing I had ever seen was the just do it.
Simple.
It was the swoosh at first.
Okay.
Right? And all of a sudden, I remember going into a store and being able to buy a shirt that didn't have, the little lacrosse alligator on it. That was
it was for you.
3/4 of an inch big.
Right.
Right. You had a T-shirt that had an 8-inch swoosh on it. And all of a sudden...
Was that not normal? There wasn't logo shirts?
No.
Oh.
They got you to pay
to be a billboard
for them.
They got that. Oh my gosh.
It was brilliant.
Louis Vuitton. That is my biggest complaint about that damn purse. You become a walking freaking billboard. And then you compare on, I'm probably butchering all these names, right? It's just a red background on the bottom of the shoe. They even tried to go to court when Fendi tried to copy them.
Right.
That was sufficient. But Louis has got you to carry these freaking LV purses.
Exactly.
I refuse to buy them.
Well,
you should be giving me the billboard for free to walk around with.
But that's it's really funny because one of the companies,
Cheated on that one.
I've pioneered 4 different companies. And the first thing we did, one of the first things we did, is we created a swag catalog with our logos
Before anything else.
before we sold any product. Sell the name. Let people walk around with your name on you.
It's insane.
And everybody's like, well, we could make money off the golf shirt. Give away the golf shirts. Give away a shirt with your logo on it. Why? To get people to go, well, what's that? And I will never forget Nike. To my recollection, Nike was the first one that really did that.
Mm-hmm.
That really pounded their logo. And if you look at marketing studies today, in fact, gosh, I'm trying to think of who's on it. But they pulled up all these logos. What is the brand image of this logo? And all of a sudden, Volvo goes up, and it's, well, customer safety. And this goes up, and it's dependability. And this goes up. The logos are so tied to that
Brand.
image, right? And it's fascinating how it's progressed over time. But I will never forget, oh my God, you want me to pay to advertise for you? This is brilliant.
But people wanted to wear those shirts.
Well, that's exactly what happened. And also people wanted to wear their shirts, so they sell their.
You know why? Because it built the community. It let everybody know immediately you were an athlete.
Exactly. And so it's funny.
That's like Ryan's got his little gears.
Yes, gears.
My bag's not in here somewhere. Maybe you immediately know gears are typically, not just because of him, but because of everyone else using gears, that's typically associated with the digital marketing community, whether it's specifically digital marketer or just the general digital marketing. They're gears, like a manufacturing plant. So Apple, as a community, when you see Apple products, and they even tell you, I mean, they've got a giant freaking, I'm going to bend my thing back here. They've got a giant thing that everyone can see.
Right.
That immediately lets you know, I'm an Apple person.
Exactly. Oh, you must be creative. You have an Apple.
I can't figure out mine. I've had different people had different recommendations. I haven't figured out which one I like.
What's that?
How do you build your, what is the thing that will be your community the way you build it?
Well, I mean, that's what we're working to do with U+1. Is we want to find out, again, we want to serve what people want, and community is certainly one of those things, right? And so,
how do your members self-identify and find each other?
well, I think that's what we're starting to do at best. Sean has done it extremely well with his new group, his High Energy Misfits.
Is that literally what it's called?
Yes, it's literally what it's called.
Is it a group on Facebook or okay, so he doesn't just mean like the community, that is his Facebook group, that's what he's calling it.
Yeah.
High Energy Misfits.
Yeah. And so a lot of the people who attended our event really did Misfits.
That is how they self-identify and
what
is it? Self-call them? I'm not thinking of the right word.
No, self-identify, right? So again, it's one of those things that like I say, it's interesting what's going on these days. And it really is. But you don't know certain things until you take the action to go forward to gauge the response. I mean, it really comes down to the vast majority of people in business, period. They get paralyzed. Paralysis by analysis. Sean and I met with a friend the other day, and he's like, I can't get my business going. Do something. Well, but I don't have, no, well, but I need a logo. No,
You don't need a logo or a business card or slogan.
exactly. But I mean, it's like somebody has told them, get a logo and your business will take off. I know nobody who's ever bought a logo, as you put in a logo on this picture.
Well,
in the background.
this
But once
company
you-
is
but-
already established.
Well,
And
but
so
that's
here's
the
a-
point.
have you ever heard of shift processing?
No.
So not more online, because if they could bring it online, oh my gosh. I've seen some stuff brought online, but I think it's more complicated. But instead of using like PayPal or Stripe or your merchant account, if you're a local business that tight margins, car repair shops, a lot of people are tight these days, right? 3 to, I don't know, what is it, 4%, 5%, 6% is a lot of your budget, right? It's a lot of your margin.
Yeah.
They take that out and put it back on the customer. And so when you are processing the payment, you can turn around the screen and there's two options. You can pay with credit and here's the price. So it's increasing the price, saying this is the credit price. Or you can turn around and pay cash at this price. And now there has to be a sign on the door. There's some signage, all around the place. But now you have zero. The other thing they can do is high risk processing. Dispensaries, CBD oil, things that other
Interesting.
merchant accounts don't want to touch.
That's,
So they're really big and no one's ever heard of them.
I've heard of the concept. I haven't heard of
Yes.
them doing that.
They are the ones doing it.
Well, I'd like to talk about it because I know people they need to know.
I know people that need to know.
No, that's interesting because I have actually presented that in the past, but it wasn't exactly put together the way it needed to be.
Why do you say that?
Because the concept was somewhat there, but just the entire organization of it wasn't put together overly well. So it'd be interesting to me.
I actually like that image, how crisp each bill is. The high deftness, you can see the paper filaments, right? I've got so much open here. I can't even find my own stuff. So I'm going to upload this one.
Perfect.
But talking about influence, you
Yes.
cannot, there is no better, like what I love about everything in the social media digital world is they've democratized
That's
the
a big
ability to market and sell. To do some of this stuff, to get your message out, to build influence.
Right.
You used to have to be able to afford expensive campaigns.
Oh yeah.
You no longer have to do that. You can get on social media, follow simple, proven processes, and build influence.
There's this tool called Facebook, something like that.
Oh, Facebook.
Facebook.
Target.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's-
Facebook.
It was funny because we were sitting there the other day having this conversation with this friend. He goes, well, I need to go buy cameras and I need to stop it.
You have a phone that has a camera.
I've got to stand.
$7 to $14.
That was actually free.
I would say free. Free is good too, but I mean to get.
Well, but that's the point is that you just have to,
You just have to do it.
you just have to do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Is
Art Williams, if you've never seen Art Williams, look it up. Just do
he
it.
a comedian or?
No, Art Williams was the founder of A.L. Williams Insurance. He did a talk called "Do It."
Couldn't say just do it.
No, he couldn't say just do it. But he actually this talk might have actually happened prior to them trademarking that, actually. But he says, I know you want to, and he's talking about his insurance agents. I know you feel you need to have an office. I know you did, he was listing all the things that all the reasons why people couldn't do business. And he said, whenever you feel like you just need to have an office, just do it. And I need to do it. and do it. I mean, look at it's on YouTube. It's a great talk. Art Williams, A.L. Williams. Do it. It's a very good talk that just brings you back into reality. You don't have to have all the tools. You don't have to have all the stuff. Take one, be imperfect, be perfect being imperfect.
Everyone has Facebook.
Everybody has Facebook.
Everyone these days has a smartphone.
Well, 68% of the world, so yeah.
Get a pop socket, get a cheap stand, get a selfie stick, prop it up with a roll of paper towels. I've done that before too.
Get a pop socket.
Mm-hmm. They're expensive now that brand is pushing their patent.
Or the other thing you can do is just go to somebody who's already bought it and trying to advertise.
Go to someone who's using them as advertising. Exactly.
Get a pop socket.
I got mine before I had to rip it off. All right, guys, it is 10, but for the rest of the week, we will be talking about building influence using different aspects. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And go join the Fembot Army for Warfare Marketing. And if you have questions, we will submit them, or to Double Funnel TV to actually have us work on your stuff. All right. Bye, guys.
See y'all.